Hey guys, Bushcraft 412 here, and today I want to talk about archery and shit hits the fan scenarios. One of the big things, a lot of people always discuss is, ways that they can gather game and protect themselves in a shit hits the fan scenario, or SHTF. And a lot of people often recommend people getting into archery because, the arrows, as long as you don't break them, are reusable. And after ammunition stores are long gone, you'll be able to get or possibly even make your own arrows and continue on gathering game with archery, just like people have been doing for tens of thousands of years. And I wanted to kind of share, I've done a couple videos on bow hunting before, but I wanted to gear this one more towards like prepping and how to get started and how to get started for cheap. Now, number one, you can go to a store and get a bow and pay, full price and get a brand new bow, get it fitted and adjusted for you, and you'll probably have a very good and accurate bow. But it's not necessary to go out and spend $300, $400, $500 on a bow. You can very easily go out and get a bow at a garage sale or a flea market or any place like that, even Craigslist. Lots of people sell bows on Craigslist, and get a good used bow. Now, bow technology has increased dramatically in the past 10 years. So the bows of 10 years ago are not, as good as the ones now. But people take deer with handmade bows. You don't need a brand new top of the line Matthews bow to hunt deer. You can use a 10-year-old compound bow. It's no big deal, and you can get them lots of times for under $50. Now, I highly recommend, if you do buy a used bow, bring it to a pro shop. They will often, in fact, I have a used bow. I have an old used bear bow from the 1980s, and I brought it to a pro shop to see if I could get it adjusted to for me to shoot it, to get it down to my draw length. And the bow just wasn't, we got it close, but it's not exactly to my draw length. And I had the guy check it over, and he checked it over and made sure it was safe. Because these old bows, you never know if somebody dry fired them and they may explode on you. So I recommend, when you see a bow at a garage sale, go and pull it, because somebody may have dry fired it before you. Bring it to a pro shop, have them check it out, make sure it's good before you go playing around with it too much, because if those bows go off and explode, it can really hurt you very, very seriously. So I brought mine to a shop. The guy checked it over, said it was in great condition, and he put a new string on it for me, and he adjusted it down a couple inches so it'll be a little closer for me, and he charged me like $60. No big deal. But the bow, it's not a perfect fit for me. It's a little too long of a draw. But, it's not the end of the world. I can still shoot it, and I'm fairly accurate with it. Not as accurate as my new bow. I have a brand new compound bow. Not anywhere as accurate as that, but it still gets the job done, and I really do like using it to practice. So, here's a way you can get cheap stuff for your bow. And one word, guys, Walmart. Walmart carries archery stuff in the sporting goods section, and their prices are phenomenal. Now, one of the things I couldn't stand about bow hunting was everything was so expensive. All the accessories were just so expensive, and it cost me a couple $100 to get up and running. Now, I was able to get the same stuff I bought last year with my new bow at Walmart, and I spent less than $50. Now, Walmart luckily has arrows, and the arrows are pre-cut, which is awesome, because if you go to a pro shop, the arrows come in like 32 inches, and you have to get them cut down to your bow. Walmart had a display, and it had the arrows arranged by either carbon or aluminum, and then by inches. They had like 26, 28, 30, 32 in 2-inch increments. So I just got the ones that were closest to my draw, which is, the 28 inchers, and I bought 3 aluminum, and they were like $4 a piece, and 2 carbons that were like $3 a piece. So I ended up paying like $20 for a bunch of arrows, and they're already cut and ready to go. And this is neat because if you are like interested in archery and you want to try out different types of arrows, like different fletchings and different styles to see what works best with your bow, buying the cheap ones from Walmart is a great way to test them out and find out what you like for cheap without having to buy them and pay $5, $6 an arrow to get them cut to length. So I was able to get myself some cheap arrows, and they're already cut. Big, gigantic bonus. Number 2, we had broadheads. When you get a new bow, you never know what's going to shoot better, 100 grain, 125 grain. Well, these were $9.99 a piece. I got a set of 100 and 125s. Jackpot. So now I can try out both and see which one I like best without having to spend $20, $30 on broadheads. Are they the best quality? No, but they're going to work for my purposes. Bowstring wax. This is like $3, great addition. We have a broadhead sharpener and wrench. That was like $4.99, maybe $5. Great addition. You go to a lot of pro shops, they'll charge you $10 for it. This is just a plain Jane release for your bow. It's nothing fancy. It's not one of the fancy ones that straps onto your wrist, but this was like $7. It's a great thing to add, and it saves you a lot of money. And if you do buy a more expensive release down the line, use this as your backup. Put it in your pocket in case your release breaks while you're hunting. Great idea. Same thing, I have some field points. I bought some 100 and 125 grain field points just to have some extras around the house. So pretty much this is everything I need to hunt right here, and I spent less than $50 at Walmart to get going. Now, there are other ways to get some gear too. Like, for example, see this guy right here? This is a big, long 32-inch arrow. I found about 7 of these at the archery range at my gun my gun range. I went there one day, and we have a separate outdoor archery range, and one of my arrows missed the target or glanced off, and it went way back, kind of back in the woods. And so I went back in the woods to get it, because let's face it, it's like a $12 arrow. You know, I'm going back to get it. And what do I find? But I find like 7 or 8 of these back there that people had just left and abandoned. Now, I looked them over real good. I didn't find any cracks or problems with them, so they looked good. So I grabbed them, tested them out, they worked. So I was able to add a whole bunch of them for free. So if you do know of archery ranges or places where people do practice, sometimes you can find arrows that people just can't find or leave or wherever, and you can pick up some freebies. So there's another neat little tip for you. So guys, when you're getting into this, archery is a great thing for SHTF because it's a great renewable resource to get game. You don't have to count on bullets, you don't have to count on guns. It's silent, so you're not going to reveal your location. If game animals are very scarce and you shoot a gun, it may attract people who are, number one, willing to kill you, and number two, willing to kill you to take your game. Having a silent bow to take game with is a big bonus in an SHTF scenario. Likewise, the same thing with home defense. If, you know, say someone's rummaging around in your backyard, you know, whatever, trying to break into your house, the bow is silent, you shoot them with the bow, it's not going to attract attention to you. It's not going to, you know, I mean, I hate to sound so cold-hearted about it, but in a shit hits the fan scenario, you're going to have to do what you got to do to keep your family alive. And, you know, having a quiet means to take game and to protect your home is a big strategic advantage, along with your weapons, your guns, your knives, your food storage, and all that. So, very big. And not only that, this is great for kids. Kids love archery. You can get your kids into it, get them shooting for cheap. You know, it's something the whole family can enjoy, and it's a lot of fun, and it takes a lot of practice and patience and skill, and it's something, when you get good at it, is a very valuable skill, because you're not going to be good at archery right out of the box. You don't just pick up a bow and get to be an expert with it. It takes years, if not decades, to get good with a bow. Start now, get to practicing, and don't be intimidated by it. You can do it very cheap. Get yourself a used bow, bring it to a pro shop, get it fitted to you, get it checked out, make sure it's safe, and then you can pick up a lot of this stuff right at Walmart. And another great source for cheap archery supplies is eBay, because they do have a lot of Chinese sellers who just sell kind of like unbranded Chinese garbage, and you can pick them up for real cheap. I do have some broadheads that I got off eBay for like $9-10 that I've used. They're cheap, but you know, they get the job done. And like I said before, though, it really lets you experiment. I was able to, you know, check out these different kinds of arrows and see if they fire any differently. And as for quality, guys, I know a lot of you are probably going to say, oh, I'm not going to buy the Walmart arrows because they're going to be junky quality. I actually took these out and fired these in these carbon arrows and the aluminum. Of course, the carbon arrows fire differently from the aluminum. But what I found was the accuracy of these cheap Walmart arrows was on par with the like $10 a piece arrows I have for my hunting bow. Now, granted, I did not take them out to 50 yards, but shooting at 10 and 20 yards, the accuracy was on par. You know, of course, you would have to sight them in for that particular arrow, but I was getting similar groups with these $3 ones as I am with the $10 ones I have with my bow. So they're not junk, they're not garbage. I'm sure, you know, they might get mishandled in the store and that could possibly affect the accuracy, but at $3 a piece and they're already cut, that's a bargain and a half, guys. Jump all over them if you got a bow. Hope you enjoyed with my Shit Hits the Fan archery video.